Welcome back to another episode of the Money, Mindset, and Manicures podcast. In this episode, we're diving into why having a strong intuition and listening to your gut, or learning how to listen to your gut, is super important when it comes to changing your life. I'm going to cover the history of intuition and the demonization of it, what the difference is, and how to know the difference between intuition and fear, because that is a question that I'm asked frequently inside my community, and I'm going to teach you how to decipher it. There is a small little things that you just have to look for. So I'm excited to get into that, and how to also strengthen your intuition and know whether it is blocked or not. And you figure that out by learning how it connects to your third eye chakra. And I know we're getting into a little bit of chakra explanations and work today. But if you haven't or don't know about chakras and chakra energy, that's okay, because all I want you to do right now is just sit back, listen, and receive, take it in. And if it doesn't serve you, it doesn't align with you, that's okay. Take from this episode what you need. And all that I hope for is that you walk away from this episode with something tangible that you can start implementing today. Plus, somewhere throughout this episode, I'll also be announcing the winner of our second $100 Visa gift card giveaway. And that means there is one more gift card up for grabs in next week's episode. And all you need to do to enter to win is to leave a review on this podcast, screenshot that review before you've submitted, because sometimes they do take a couple days to populate publicly, and then post that screenshot to Instagram and tag Money, Mindset, and Manicures Instagram account, and then also my personal Instagram account, which is I am Samantha, and you'll be entered to win. And I just want to say once again, thank you to those of you that have left reviews, that are listening, that are sharing these episodes on social media. It makes me so excited that you are getting so much out of these episodes. And that is my plan for every single episode, is that you walk away with an aha moment, with some sort of breakthrough, with some sort of tangible takeaway that you can start implementing into your life so that you can change it and be a better you. Diving into this episode, I don't know about you, but I personally love learning about why things are the way that they are today. And this is the kind of stuff that you don't really learn about in school. It's interesting because the older that I get and the more wisdom that I gain, I start to see the bigger picture, and it's really interesting. Like, once you see past this veil, once you see past the programming, it's like really wild to see how programmed we really are and how much unlearning we really have to do to fully step into our fullest potential. First, we are going to dive into the history and the demonization of intuition, because it has 100% been demonized, especially for women. So a few thousand years ago, when the demonization of intuition began, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson here, because it's important to understand or have more awareness about why things are the way that they are today. So this all began during the times of the Romans and the Greeks. And it could have even started before that, but I'm using this as an example because this is a very tangible one that most of us learned about in school. So the Romans and the Greeks, there was a developing mentality of conquer. So think about all the things that we learned about the Roman and Greek times. Basically, the theme was that they wanted to just conquer empires, conquer countries, like all over the world. And you've probably seen movies like 300 or Gladiator or Fall of the Roman Empire, Cleopatra. And there's actually a series on Netflix that was released this year. And if you've listened to previous episodes of mine, I do share that I right now do not watch any TV. I haven't for about 3 months. But before that, I was really selective on the things that I watched. When I saw that Netflix had released this series called Queen Cleopatra, I highly recommend watching that if you're into this kind of stuff, because even though it got terrible reviews, actually, I had to search the name of that series on the internet, and immediately all I saw was all these negative reviews. And honestly, I was kind of shocked. But I also watched that show as far as, oh my gosh, like they were telling the story of Cleopatra and how much power she had and how she used her intuition. And it literally is such a great show to just watch. I think it's like 4 or 5 episodes or something like that, but it's really cool. But basically, that whole show depicts the patriarchy and the conqueror mentality. And watching it as a woman, I saw just how powerful Cleopatra was. And also it goes to prove how much women, even back then and where it kind of all started, were just really held down and they couldn't become leaders. And if they were, everyone would do everything to really sabotage them and not let them step into their power. So during this time period, the kings, the queens, they were constantly leading their people to go to war and fight. But the people, and when I say people, I'm talking about like general population and civilians, they were very connected to spirit. So the men at the time that were recruited to go to war, because of course women were not back then, they were very connected to spiritual expansion, which means they had a great connection to their intuition. Now, this is a huge problem for kings and queens and leaders of all kinds who are wanting to conquer neighboring empires and countries, because when someone is really deeply connected to spirit and has a really strong intuition, these types of people can see past time. They can see past the physical and they can see past the desires at the forefront. So if someone in power is trying to command an army of people who are connected to intuition and spirit, these people don't need laws and they can see past this current fear at the forefront, like being invaded or hungry for more, which is what going to war back then was all about, right? Like they're trying to conquer, and they know that something better is coming. So these people already know that their intuition is going to tell them, or these people are already feeling it, like we don't need to go to war. There's no reason to fight. We're going to be fine. So this type of paradigm of the people as a collective would not serve as a successful army, because they're not driven to go fight and war and conquer, because with their spirit and intuition, they already trust and know, okay, maybe this issue is here. Maybe we're about to get invaded. Maybe we have to go conquer, but also it's all going to work out and it's all going to be okay. It's that universe has our backs mentality, which is not going to create them to go serve at that level as an army, because ultimately intuitive people are very hard to control. And on the other side of the spectrum, logical people are very easy to control, because people who operate from the mind, you can get them to believe anything. And the way that the mind works to keep you human, it will find and verify and look for evidence that is correct. So if you want to control a group of people to do things for you, you get them to operate from the mind and you put logic on a pedestal. You just have to make something make just enough sense and you'll have everyone on board with it. So just think about Hitler or King Leopold. How did they become so successful with killing so many people without anyone ever questioning them at the time? Right? Let's think about that. All they did was use some logic and some science to prove to people that they are less than others. Then all they did was put it in the media, create fear, create laws, and get scientists to back information. This sounds a little familiar, how the past 3 years have been for all of us, right? Think about 2021, 2022. Now even continuing into 2023. But an intuitive person, you know that people are a reflection of you, and you already know what's in alignment for you, and you think beyond logic. So how can you tell the difference between intuition and fear? Or really, intuition and logic? So intuition is often described as a subtle, immediate understanding or insight without the need for conscious reasoning. And it's a form of subconscious processing that draws on your past experiences, knowledge, emotions, and perceptions. It's also clarity. Intuition provides a really clear and direct sense of what feels right and aligned. It's also accompanied by calmness and centeredness. and it often brings insights or realizations that may not be immediately obvious. Now, when it comes to alignment and intuition, intuition will always help you to make choices that align with your values and authentic self. And it's going to guide you toward that choice that feels aligned with your deeper self and values. So it really tends to guide you in a positive direction and towards growth as well. But fear, on the other hand, this is an emotional response to a perceived threat or danger. So when we're feeling fear, when we have something come to us and, it's like, oh my gosh, is this intuition or fear? Fear is literally a physical body response. And this is a natural and protective reaction that triggers the fight or flight response in the body. So while fear can be adaptive and help you respond to genuine dangers, it can also be triggered by perceived threats that may not be objectively, like physically harmful. Fear tends to be more intense and agitating than intuition. And this also causes anxiety and distress. So if you're thinking about, oh my gosh, is this my intuition? Is this intuition or is this a logical or fearful reply, like response? Think about how you immediately from that moment feel in the body. Is it causing anxiety and distress? Or is it a clear response? And with emotional intensity, fear is often accompanied by really strong emotions. Like I said, with like anxiety and worry and panic. It has a physiological change. So if you have increased heart rate, sweating, muscle tension, it's literally a physical body response. And it can also make you narrow your focus, making it difficult to see the bigger picture. So if you're really hyper focused on this one thing that is scary and you're like, oh my gosh, is this my intuition or is this fear? Is this logic? It's really hard to see the bigger picture. So pay attention to that. Both intuition and fear play roles in decision making, obviously, but it's important for you to learn to discern between the two and make conscious choices on a balanced assessment of the situation. So I'm sure you can now see why having a strong intuition and listening to your gut can be important when it comes to changing your life. But let's go deeper into how having a strong intuition can serve you, because it's not just about life or death situations. It goes a lot deeper. I know that you've probably heard my story or stories of how I've pivoted so many times throughout my career, and you'll see the theme in all of those stories, how it was my gut feeling, my intuition, the download that I received. Like when I say download, like that is the connection of intuition, my alignment, myself. It's so powerful. And when you start listening to that, you will not fail. Because no matter what, you are going towards and moving towards making decisions that are in alignment for you, that are going to get you to that next level. Even though sometimes when you think about it logically, it doesn't make sense. I have closed down multiple companies over the last few years, companies that I built up that I at the time didn't think about because I was too young to understand this at the time. But I built up companies that I could never really sell because I was the actual like product when it came to video production companies or being an influencer. These are companies that I built. I can't sell off because it's using my likeliness. So I had shut down multiple six-figure companies to start a new one back at zero. And logically, that made no sense. Logically, that was freaking scary. Logically, that felt even fearful, right? For money. But my intuition told me, no, go do that. You need to do this. Your alignment is no longer here anymore. You're not aligned with this current company anymore. You need to go on to do this thing. But I never did or made these moves just out of the moment. It was the download. It was the hit that came through my intuition. And from there, that's when I took action. So none of these moves were ever planned. Even with starting the Maniscripting Journal, not planned whatsoever. In fact, I never would think that I'd be sitting here of an e-commerce company and growing and scaling month after month, year after year. by following your intuition and by growing and learning how to strengthen your intuition is 100% going to serve you. And this is also how you are able to change your life. And it's going to happen even faster for you. So again, personal alignment. Your intuition is a reflection of your subconscious mind. So this has it processes a vast amount of information and experiences over time, right? Your subconscious mind does. So it can guide you towards choices that are more aligned with your true self, values, and desires. And this type of alignment will lead you to greater fulfillment and sense of purpose in your life changes. Literally what I just said. Like from my 20s to my 30s, that's literally how life has felt for me. And I know that when you start tapping into this the first time, it is scary, it is hard. And that's why, have a good support system around you. If you don't have like-minded people around you, I invite you into the Maniscripting community. You will find a support team there. Because when you are making these types of moves in your life, it can be very hard and you can feel very alone. Along with strengthening your intuition, you're going to get subconscious insights. Your intuition taps into your insights that your conscious mind might not be immediately aware of. Are you seeing the repetitiveness of how important intuition is and how strengthening it is so important? Because your intuition is going to bring to surface thoughts, feelings, and considerations that you may not have consciously acknowledged before. And this is what can help you make more informed decisions when you're embarking on significant life changes. And along with just strengthening your intuition, you're going to have better creativity. You're going to be more innovative. You're going to have more confidence. You're going to feel more empowered. You're going to have rapid decision making. Trust me when I tell you, the first few times when I made decisions from my gut, these were huge life changes. It felt hard. Now today, if I get that hit, it's a no-brainer. I do not ignore it. Because I know what happens when you ignore it. When you ignore your intuition, you're going to go on a roller coaster ride, right? How many times have you ever done something or made a decision to do something? And then after the fact, like for example, you went against your gut, like you felt it in your gut. Oh, I shouldn't do this. Oh, I shouldn't date that guy. Oh, I shouldn't take that job. I don't know, but shiny object, pay is good. Oh, the guy, oh, he's hot. Okay. And then a few months down the road, maybe it happens quickly, maybe it happens a couple months down, something bad happens with that person or that job or whatever the situation is. And you say, damn it, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. I had that gut feeling. I had that inkling that this was going to happen. And damn it, I'm so annoyed with myself. I didn't listen to my intuition. I bet you can at least count a few times that has happened to you in your life. But what's interesting is that we continue to ignore it, because we don't trust ourselves enough. And as women, our intuition is so freaking strong. Why is there a saying that says women's intuition doesn't lie? Because it is so true. There have been studies proving that we as women have the ability to feel things more. We know how to even, we're aware of nonverbal cues. We're more in tune to our feelings. We have a more keen sense of observation. And do you know where that comes from? It comes from, again, historical times, and still even today in different parts of the world where women are to be seen and not heard. So when we had to keep our mouths shut, when we could just, be present but not be a presence, we had to learn. We were able to listen to ourselves. We were able to tune in. We were able to read the room. We were able to read other people better. A woman's intuition doesn't lie. We are better at even reading facial expressions, which means we're more likely to pick up on subtle emotional messages and even read things like tone of voice and body language, right? Like how critical are we as women, right? Like just think about it. When you talk to someone, you're like, oh gosh, they sounded pissed off. Or, oh my gosh, that text message doesn't look right. Are they pissed? Are they upset with me? And I know sometimes we can, and I don't want to use the word even like overreact over things, but at the same time, there's a reason to it because your gut and your intuition is trying to tell you something. So really, when it comes down to strengthening your intuition, you have to first know how blocked it is, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? And you can play this game of, oh, hindsight. But one, start paying attention to those situations where oh my gosh, I knew that was going to happen, right? Start paying attention to that and try to, the next time you have some sort of intuition and gut feeling about something, act on it, make that decision on it. And again, it might be hard because your logical mind will pop in and be like, oh no, let's not do that. But really start trying to practice it. Again, it's like it's strengthening a muscle, just like you went in the gym. And I feel like I use that example all the time lately on these episodes, but that's how everything works. That's how you can change different characteristics about you. We have to put them into practice, have to use them. Okay, babe, I know you're listening to this podcast because I know that you have a desire to change your life and accomplish big goals, right? But I also know that something has been holding you back on going after those big goals. Or maybe it's that you self-sabotage, or maybe you've set these big goals and you get really overwhelmed and you just don't go after them altogether. Well, I want to introduce you to a journal that is literally going to help you change your life and help you actually manifest and accomplish any desires or goals that you have. It's called the Maniscripting Journal, and it's the #1 selling manifestation and goal setting journal designed exclusively for empowering women just like you to up-level and change your life. Now, if you haven't seen this journal on social media already, I want to share with you that it is literally your personal guide to manifesting your dreams and unlocking your true potential. And inside its beautifully curated pages, you'll discover powerful daily journaling pages, workbooks, and exercises to help you set goals, help you plan your dreams, and manifest the life that you deserve. Plus, the one thing that I had to include, and it was a non-negotiable with this journal, is that it needed to have a community. So you'll also have access to join an online community filled with thousands of women just like you who are on the same path using the journal. So I invite you to join me and these thousands of women who have already embraced the power of manifestation and changed their life using the Maniscripting Journal. And I also want to gift you with a special 15% off code on your first journal order by using the code Money Mindset. The code is Money Mindset. So head over to maniscripting.com today and embark on a transformative journey by ordering the journal. So go ahead, check out the show notes, empower yourself. Answer the call to getting this journal. If this is speaking to you, I want you to join us. It's time to script your dreams into reality with the Maniscripting Journal because you deserve to create and manifest a life that you're completely obsessed with. See show notes for details. When it comes to understanding and learning about intuition, I am bringing up the third eye chakra because sometimes when we can put something a little bit more tangible to something, it can be a little easier to understand and work with it as well. So if you don't know what chakras are, that's okay. If you continue to listen to episodes on this podcast, I'm sure we're going to explore them even more. Because when I learned about them, I was able to learn so much more about myself. I was able to heal parts of myself. I was able to strengthen parts of myself. So that's why I'm sharing this with you now. And this isn't just like a spiritual woo-woo-y thing. It's a real thing. The chakras are the energy centers in our body. They store energy of thoughts, feelings, memories, experiences, actions, and they really do influence and direct our present and future mindset. They direct our behaviors. They affect our emotions, our emotional health, and our actions. So we're going to take a look at the third eye chakra because that is connected to intuition. And I want to share with you how you can tell if it is blocked. So I'm going to give you some characteristics if your third eye chakra, aka intuition, which is tapped into that, is blocked, underactive, weak, or out of balance. And if it is those things, you could feel the inability to plan or set goals, narrow-mindedness, denial, poor vision and memory, difficulty seeing the future, lacking imagination. So I want you to think right now, how many of those, if any, do you currently, quote unquote, suffer from in your life, right? Because these are hard things to deal with, right? It's frustrating if you are trying to accomplish something, if you're trying to change your life, if you're trying to set goals and you have these characteristics, right? So now think about, and I'm going to share with you, which of these traits do you have? And these traits signal that your third eye is open and balanced. And again, that means your intuition is a little stronger. You're going to feel more optimistic, perceptive. You might have some intuitive psychic abilities, which, hello, that's what intuition is, right? That's your intuitiveness, intuition. Imaginative. You are more watchful and aware, self-aware. You have a good memory. You're wise. You're able to plan and carry out plans that you committed to. You sleep really well. You can recall your dreams. And overall, you have a calm mind. So out of those two lists, where do you fall right now? Are you blocked or are you open and balanced and flowing? So if you are more on the block side, which is okay, and sometimes we go through ebbs and flows. And that's the one thing with chakra work that I do love. It's not like, oh, you open it or you clear it and now it's like it's clear for forever. No, it's going to be ebbs and flows because they're the energy centers of what happens in our lives. Remember, they influence and direct, or they store the thoughts, feelings, memories, experiences, and actions of our day-to-day lives. So that is why when you understand how these energy centers work and whether they're blocked or unblocked or flowing or not, you can do things in order to clear them and heal them and make them stronger. And so the way to enhance and strengthen your intuition, you can do a lot of things, but I'm going to name about 6 or no, probably like 10 things that are going to help you enhance and strengthen your intuition. First thing, of course, is meditate. Previous episode, if you didn't listen to it, you need to go listen to that right now. Literally a life changer. And I know to some of you, if you didn't listen to the previous episode, you might find meditation boring. You might find it hard, but I promise you, I share really cool things in that episode that will literally change your mentality towards meditation. Number 2 is start noticing all that you can with your 5 conventional senses. Tap in. I love to do this practice where I am more mindful of certain things because a lot of times we're going through our day-to-day routine. We're constantly just autopiloting, right? There are a lot of times that even littlest thing, I'm eating breakfast or eating lunch and I'm sitting there and I have my laptop open or I'm doing stuff on my phone and I'm texting, I'm just eating, I'm drinking my coffee. I'm not even paying attention to what's going into my mouth and into my body because it's so autopilot. But when I start wanting to connect back to my intuition or make it stronger, I love to tap into all the senses. Okay, so be present. How does this food taste and feel in my mouth? How does it smell? What am I seeing around me as I'm eating this? What am I hearing? Usually I have the patio door open, so I hear the birds or like the crickets or locusts. I don't know what's in these Austin trees that make these really loud buzzing sounds, but I am just present and it's so beautiful. So when's the last time that you really started connecting and paying attention with all of your senses? How does like clothing feel on your body? What is the smell in the air? Or when you spray, like, I don't know, you hire self aura mist, or we have a third eye chakra anointing oil in our maniscripting.com shop. Like, smell the things, taste the things, be present with the things. Next thing you could do is pay attention to your dreams and use a dream journal. This is such a good one. Because when the cognitive mind is busy, it can override the intuitive right brain and the subconscious mind, which is the wellspring of intuition. But when you're sleeping, your cognitive mind rests and opens up space for the subconscious mind to signal you in your dreams. Dreams really fascinate me. And I just had this conversation a few nights ago with a friend, and I'm just like, we go to bed every single night and we go to sleep, and it's like we go, depending how intense or crazy your dreams sometimes are, but the dreams that I have sometimes are so vivid and literally out of this world. And I'm like, we all do this every single night and we act like it's just normal. Like these visuals that we get in our minds that I literally have never seen before in real life are just created in my brain. Like, what is going on? Where are we going? It's wild. So start by paying attention to your dreams. I literally have one of the little manuscripting notebooks on my bedside table with a pen, and I do that first thing, especially during time periods that I'm having like night after night, dreams after dreams. It is so powerful and it is so cool because you already know that a few minutes after you wake up and you go do your thing, like it's crazy how those memories also just leave our brains too, right? So pay attention to your dreams and use a dream journal. Next thing you can do is get creative. Creativity, creative activities such as drawing, dancing, scrapbooking, painting. It allows you to tap into those centers of the brain and it quiets the cognitive mind and it allows your intuition to speak up. So if you just do some freehand drawing, some painting, just feel like I allow whatever to come through. What's coming through today? And it's almost like as you're doing it, you'll receive those downloads. It's so cool when you do that. Next thing you could do is if you enjoy working with oracle cards or any sort of like tarot cards, anything like that, which yes, it's more of on the spiritual side, but I'm bringing this up because it's a fun game to play with yourself where when you pull one of those cards, that you interpret the card's message for yourself before you consult the guidebook. So I use that, if you're into that stuff, more of a game to play with. Next one is, of course, I've said this already, test your gut. If you have a feeling, for example, you're at a racetrack, and what's crazy is when Mark and I first started dating, we went to the racetrack for a friend's birthday down in San Diego. And I had never bet on horses. This was really fun. And I decided I was just going to tell Mark the numbers. And I just went with my freaking gut. And all three of those horses that I picked won. It was insanity. Mark couldn't believe it. Mark at the time, we were just getting to know each other and he knew the kind of like work that I kind of did and my spiritual side. And he was all like, holy shit, like you have some crazy superpowers. Like, how did you do that? It was crazy. Like he had never experienced something like that before. It was really, really cool. Test your gut. If you get a sense that maybe it's going to rain tomorrow, but you look at the weather and it's full sunshine, like write it down. If you feel or get this hit, like something is going to come up for your friend, or you know the guy that they're dating is bad news, write it down and see later if it becomes true. So start to test it. And I'm going to pause right here to announce this week's $100 gift card winner. And this woman, when her name was selected, I couldn't think of a more deserving woman of this gift. This woman, she shows up in our community every single day. She's posting in the Maniscripting community. With this podcast, she has been sharing every single episode to her Instagram with like captions of reviews of what she learned and what she took away. Like she has just been showing up and also giving so much that I am so excited to repay that and for her to receive this $100 gift card. So the winner this week is Miss Nicole Clinton. Thank you so much for your review. I'm going to read it right now because I'm just so grateful for you. And it goes, I honestly enjoyed this amazing Money Mindset and Manicures podcast. All 3 episodes were something that I needed to hear. Samantha is very attentive, inspiring, and honest on how to create your dream life. I am very happy being a part of the Maniscripting Journal community of amazing like-minded women and having such an amazing experience with the sisterhood and relationships that I have developed. Please check out this life-changing podcast with an outstanding and amazing host. Thank you, Nicole, so much. I know we are already very deeply connected on social media, but please send me a DM with your address or email. I'm not sure even how we're delivering these gift cards, but DM me and I will get you your gift. Congratulations. And then that kind of goes into using your body as a compass. Consult with it. Your intuition speaks to you through your body. And I'm not saying from the place of fear, but more so, you can get more sensitive to things. Do you get an uncomfortable physical feeling when you're trying to make a decision? Do you feel light or heavy? Do you get a sick feeling in your gut? Tap into that energy and those feelings of how you feel. You want to also escape from your daily routine. When we get so caught up in our routine, it's autopilot. And I'm sure I've said this on an episode before, but you can literally predict your future by doing the same thing every single day and not changing one thing about it. So disconnect, get away, go on a trip, slow down, go on a retreat, take a sabbatical, or just spend the day. If you can't do that, spend the day in new surroundings with nothing planned. Go for a hike somewhere, go to the park, go to the lake, get out of town. Because when you're overly busy, it's hard to be sensitive. It's hard to listen to those quiet voices of your intuition because there's so much freaking noise. So again, it kind of comes back to like having that sacred morning routine, have that time to meditate, give yourself time throughout your day with pockets of quietness, solo time. Allow yourself to just reset. So clear up your schedule and see if intuition pops up. And I guarantee you it will, because you're allowing yourself to give yourself space. And when we are on a path to change our lives and have that desire to change things about our lives, we have to give it space, because we can't call in anything new if there is no room. If your schedule is packed, booked, and busy, you can't call in anything new. Same thing goes for intuition. Packed, booked, busy, you can't hear it. It's busy. And then lastly, learn from the past. If you have had negative experiences, right? Like, for example, red flags with dating, red flags with jobs, with people, with friends. Think back to before the situation happened, what your gut feeling was on that. And then that way, whenever it shows up again, if ever, you know, oh, I've felt this before. I've been here before. It's a no for me this time. Because the worst thing that you can do is just continue doing the same things over and over and over. And that's the one thing that I hear is like, oh my gosh, the same bad things just keep happening to me over and over and over. Well, are you reacting to that thing the same way over and over and over? You haven't learned the lesson. So it's time to learn the lesson. I hope that you have learned something today about your intuition, the importance of strengthening it. Because intuition isn't just like, I feel like intuition has this like connotation of being spiritual and woo-woo as well. But oh my gosh, it will literally help you change your life if you allow it. Your intuition is that connection to source. It's the connection to you receive your download. It's the connection for you to step into your purpose. If you found this episode helpful, I would love to hear it. If you've already left me a review, I'd love for you to screenshot this episode and share it to social media anyways. And let me know your biggest takeaway from this. I thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.